Good day, YouTube. Today I'm going to talk about what are you going to do once you retire from the military. And it's something that it's interesting because I think about retirement often, even though as of today I'm not military retired. So I'm speaking about something that I haven't experienced yet, which is very interesting because I can tell you what I'm going to do, but I'm going to bring with you some ideas for you to think about. So let's begin by saying the earliest I could retire from active duty military retirement from today is 8 years. That seems like a long time. And it's not guaranteed that I'll reach the 8 years of active duty because I can go right back to the reserve side. Even though I'm at 20 years of military service, I could retire today if I wanted to from the reserve side, but I don't get my pension till later in life, so I have to wait. The other way of looking at this is if I go back to the civilian side for the Air Force, the earliest I could retire is 13 years from today. So either way, I have to go 8 years or 13 years from today. That's how come I would rather have the 8. So many of my friends are retired military. And before I say that, let me share with you something that I was thinking about. What is the purpose of my channel? The purpose is to share information with you through my journey, observations, and things that I've seen, positive and negative, either through myself or other people. And I like to think of it like this. I'd like to plant the seed for you with a topic or topics. In many cases, you've already thought about some of the things that I've talked about, so I'm just watering the seed for you on that topic. That's the purpose of my channel. Like I've said before, I make videos. I'm done with my education. I'm done with my professional military education as of today. That may change if I get promoted. So I have a lot of time on my hands. I like to talk about HR, human resource items, and throw in finances. The interesting thing is when I make a financial video, and those usually are my favorite topics, they don't have as many views. And I'm completely fine with that because I'll continue to make those videos because if I can help 5 people and have more, let's say 100 views and help 5 people, I'm happier for that than if I have 1,000 views and it's just for entertainment purposes. So for me, it goes back to that purpose of my channel. Some of my friends, most of my friends in the military are retired. Not all of them, of course. And what are they doing today? Today we're going to a barbecue. My friend is retired from the United States Army. He retired about 8 months ago, recently. So within the last year, and he is in school full time. He has his pension from the Army. He has his VA disability coming in, and he is in school. And he's on top of that getting the housing allowance that comes with the post 9/11 GI Bill, which is great. Another friend that's coming in on Wednesday of this week, he retired almost 2 years ago, Master Sergeant in the Air Force, and he is teaching ROTC. He has his pension, he has his disability, and he was a former military training instructor. So if I can actually get him to make a video with me, an interview on how it was to be an MTI, I will post that. I've said that once that I was going to do. I ran out of time. He has to agree to do it, so we will see if that happens or not. So what are you going to do when you retire from the military? And some of the things that you can do is you can say, hey, I want to work part-time. I want to greet somewhere, or I want another career full-time because you want to do that or because you have to do that financially. I used to brief financial briefings at Transition Assistance Planning, TAP, for the military, all branches, all ranks. An observation that I used to see often, and that's unfortunate, is that a lot of people who were retiring were stressed about their next chapter in their lives because of finances. What am I going to do? Where am I going to do it? Am I going to have enough money to have the quality of life that I have now? Last week I was in training for a full week. We had people from all over the US and attended that briefing, resiliency training. And I had a moment where I talked to one of the instructors. There were 3 instructors. She has 14 years in right now. And I said, if you can, excuse me, start planning your transition at your 15-year mark. So that would be a year from now. And she said, oh, great. Why? I thought that was great that she wanted to know why I think the way I do with my recommendation. And I said, at 5 years out, you have enough time to identify your financial goals for your transition, maybe your education, any goals that an individual may have, and start working on those. Because a lot of people, going back to that TAP class, were stressed out when they were 1 year out. And I'm talking about high-ranking people, E8s, E9s, majors, lieutenant colonels, and so forth. Not every person, because the opposite end of that spectrum is I saw people of all ranks, enlisted and officer, who were retiring and had done so well with their planning that they were going to do whatever it was that they wanted to do. And in some cases, that is retired. So I said, small debts that you have, credit card debt, get rid of that. So at your 20-year mark, I have two exceptions, in my opinion, of what debts we can have as individuals. One is a mortgage, and the other one is a car. That's it. You don't want to have these credit card debts. At least I don't. Once I retire, which I don't even as of now. So those are some things to think about. If you're separating from the service, start planning for that transition again. Another observation is the post 9/11 GI Bill is a very generous benefit that we as service members have earned. But I'm going to ask a question, and it's not to be a hater or it's not to be negative about this, but it's just a question, is that post 9/11 GI Bill comes with a very generous housing allowance. Let's just say it's $1,500. It's going to vary depending on location. That's a benefit. If you go to school full-time, you get that housing allowance, which is tax-free. How many people do you think would be in school once they retire or once they separate from the service if there was no housing allowance that came with that? And my answer, in my opinion, is most people would be like, I don't have time for school because I have to earn a living, so I need to work. Well, in my observation, I do see some people who go back to school for the reason, and primary reason, because of that housing allowance, that $1,500 plus their retirement. Now they're in the amounts of $3,000 or more, maybe a VA disability. Hey, I don't have to work. So that's just an observation, whether it's right, whether it's wrong. That doesn't really matter, but it's something to think about. What are you going to do once you retire from your military? The military. Now, if you're retiring from active duty, the benefit is you're going to get your pension right away. If you're retiring from the reserve, you are going to have to wait up until 60 or so, because it can vary, for your pension to kick in. Something to think about. I hope it's been helpful. Either I've watered your seed or I've planted the seed for that transition when that happens, because everybody, to include myself, will transition out of the military. Have a great day. Take care.